We are excited today to talk about sinners, and we're extremely excited today to bring to the show a good friend and collaborator of ours, Nakeia Medcalf, who you will get to know more in this episode of Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg. We're going to have to talk about SOS Band.
Oh, bruh.
Because there were two catalogs that I was waiting for to come onto streaming platforms over the last 20 years. De La Soul, which came up 2 years ago, and SOS Band's catalog finally got on streaming platforms about 2 weeks ago.
So we can...
And I've been listening to it nonstop for the last 2 weeks, and it is life-giving. It is Reg Hamlet circa 1983 to 86 all over again, baby.
I could just play Tell Me, which is finally up. I don't have to listen to other folks' versions.
Right.
Right, which is never going to hit the same. Nakeia, if you don't know about that, please do yourself a favor.
I know about it.
Oh my gosh, that cut there.
And we gonna get her to sing one day. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, one of the most thorough bodies of work from any band ever. SOS Band.
Yep.
No bad songs, man.
Nah,
incredible. Up there with Patrice Rushen.
A lot of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis production too.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg. That's DJ. I'm Reg. We are excited today for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, we're going to be talking about sinners, like everyone else is in the world. We were moved by it in profound ways. We want to talk about it and unpack it, certainly in the context of Mama We Made It and all that Ryan Coogler and team have brought to the table. And we also want to introduce our creative collaborator, our friend of the show, our little sister, Nakeia Medcalf. Welcome to the show, Nakeia Medcalf.
What's up, Nakeia?
Thank you. Hello.
Our first guest. How are you?
I'm good. Can't complain. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you.
Happy to have you. And I know the last thing you like in your world is to be on camera. So I'm excited we were able to coax you to even, give us your genius in front of the camera as opposed to behind. So,
the elusive one comes out, pops out from time to time.
You got to pop out. Pop out.
That's awesome. Good to have you.
Man, I'm not even sure how to start and get into this. So I'm just going to throw it up to the floor. Who wants to jump in first?
I believe in opening the door to guests, not as they did in Sinners, but Nakeia would love to get just your overall perspective. What hit you about Sinners?
Oh, wow. Everything hit me. I was just in Clarksdale, Mississippi, because my mom's side of the family is there. And many of them grew up there. And then we were also kind of in Tupelo, that sort of area. But so many of my uncles, aunts, cousins come from that Mississippi Delta, grew up with all that gospel music, blues, R&B, all of that. And so that really resonated, I think, with me just in terms of the exposition of it all. I think that the film did an incredible job of depicting the trueness of what the South was like in that time, especially with the sort of Chinese influence, how they were there kind of setting up shop, the Native American influence. All of that was really compelling. And, I think the whole time I just kept thinking like the predator is always there. And, lurking around, a steady presence. And how you circumvent that is, one more challenge that you have to kind of overcome. And, I loved it. I loved everything about it. And I would say probably my favorite scene was both a little trauma-inducing, kind of, in a way, but also riveting and beautiful, which is when the past, present, and future kind of come together. And I say that because I grew up in a Pentecostal church. And so, this movie really hit for me in a lot of ways because of that, I think. So just the music, the spirituality, the sort of conviction over everyone's bodies, all of that really, really resonated with me because it mimics that integral experience I've had growing up my whole life. And I say traumatic because some of the same messaging was said to me about sin,
Mm-hmm.
and singing blues versus gospel makes you think of a whole bunch of different things. But so that's why I say traumatic, and why that sort of opening and closing scene was so powerful.
Yeah.
What did y'all think?
Man, I don't like scary movies at all. At all, at all, at all. I don't love them. I was traumatized by Damien Omen 2 when I was a
Mm.
kid. I don't rock with them. When I hear that music, it freaks me out. And I wasn't committed to seeing this movie. And my oldest son talked me into seeing it. So he and I went together and saw it. I've seen it twice as well. I saw it with him in a half full IMAX theater here, and it was powerful and it was amazing and riveting, and I was engrossed in the first 45 minutes of just storytelling and world building and the richness of our history and how inside of the belly of the beast we live full lives, and watching that all be set up grounded me so that when the vampire movie comes, and it's definitely a vampire movie, when we got to that part of the show, I was so immersed in the world that all that blood and all that shit didn't bog my spirit down. So overall, I was just riveted by a phenomenal movie experience. I was happy to see some faces that you don't always see. Like, I love Saul Williams and him as pastor. Like, he's the author of one of my favorite songs, List of Demands. Like, I'm a big fan of him from Slam Days and all that. So seeing him as a pastor was credible and a great choice. All the cast was, I thought, well cast and shot. The cinematography, the costume design. So we'll get into it all, but the immersiveness of the experience was amazing to me. And then I saw it a second time in New York in IMAX 70 millimeter in a jam packed crowd of people who were on the edge of their seat, standing ovation at the end, the whole 9 yards. So to have those two experiences was also a lot of fun. So overall, blown away by everything top to bottom, without question. And I will see it again. And I wasn't scared. And so I'm very proud of myself for that.
Good job.
I'm a horror film buff, always have been. Grew up Stephen King, Edgar Allan Poe. So I love horror. You know what that says about me. I've really appreciated the investment in design and production. Just incredible, man. The color, juxtaposition, the use of different film elements. I think about the film itself, and I saw it twice as well. Relatively sparse theater. I think the first time there were probably 8 people in a huge theater. The second time, 15. It was the depiction of good and evil through various spiritualities, whether it's Christianity, KKK, vampirism, the blues, and the depiction of good and evil in all of those elements of the Choctaw community. That's what captivated me, is the ability to draw that out within the individual spiritualities and to create characters and narratives associated with that. I thought that was really powerful how he did that in one story. Obviously, some of the symbolism, I watched it a second time. I started to pay more attention to the dates of things, how some of those dates were connected to prior films that really had nothing to do with Coogler. And then lastly, for me, it's this brother also played football at Sacramento State. So it's like the multi-dimensional nature of, Black talent. I continue to be inspired by that. So hit me on a lot of different levels. Really glad I saw it a second time. Feel sorry for the folks who left early. And Reg, I actually didn't leave early. I thought I did. This time I stayed until they almost started a new movie. Because you had me thinking I wasted my money, man. So they were cleaning up when I left.
You saw all three
credits.
credit trailers.
I did, man. In the beginning of the next film. So it was for like I was 13 again. But I think I got it all. But man, I'm telling you, I think you almost have to see it a second time.
Do you all have a favorite character?
Ooh.
For me, as much as I love Michael B. Jordan in both roles as Smoke and Stack, and as much as I love the entire ensemble, I love Perline, I love Sammy, all the things. Annie was the center of the movie for me. I thought she was rendered on screen as the fullest formed mind, body, and spirit. I thought she was the most present in every scene. It was great to see a big girl get her flowers because she was, sexy without being sexualized, if that makes sense. And I thought that when we meet her in that scene with her and Smoke and them reconnecting in the story of the lost child and, you're going to make me say it. I need to hear you say you love me. And you always like, I loved that. And that reconnection space was really, really moving for me. And obviously she goes on to be the central, I think, node in terms of, when it all goes down, that her death was so traumatizing to those who had been turned to vampires, said a lot about her importance as a portal to the ancestor realm, the spiritual realm, and the like. So she moved me tremendously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think for me, probably Annie. And we talked a little bit about this, Reg. Annie 1A, maybe 1B, gotta give flowers to Remick. And I say Remick because that cat was real believable, man.
He's yes.
And you want to hate Remick, but it's like,
yes,
that cat was incredible. He was incredible. Yeah, so many flowers. I mean, Perline, one of my favorite characters in the film. But Annie and Remick kind of stand. Delroy Lindo for me always, just so much soul to that brother. It's
always.
How can you not? Cornbread was incredible.
Yeah.
But Annie, and again, Michael B, I mean, playing two roles is crazy. But favorites, 1A, 1B, I'll probably go Annie and Remick if you force me into that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you, Nakeia?
I have to give Michael B. Jordan his flowers real quick because he is an actor.
He is.
From Hardball, The Wire, this man has been at it.
Yeah.
And the growth is impeccable to see.
Shout out Wallace.
So I just have to say that Annie reminded me so much of so many women that I know or knew briefly. And so I would say she is definitely up there. But I love Sammy. I think Sammy had this sort of innocence and really portrayed spiritually, kind of a spiritual battle for me. I think in the best way because he was being, nurtured by others around him, but also kind of in the mode of making his own decisions. And I just think they depicted that narrative really well. And you will always get me if somebody can sing. Like, he can blow. He can sing for real.
And he was really playing that guitar.
And he was really playing the guitar. He learned guitar for the roles. So your boy is talented, to say the least. And so, yeah, he really blew me away.
What a first film, right? What I mean, like
What a
what a
first film.
powerful first film.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he is. Like look that up, but come on,
20.
come on, come
He's the
on.
son of a famous, like a pretty well known, I don't remember her name, but a pretty well known gospel singer.
He grew up with the Kurt Carr singers. Yeah,
Kurt
yeah, yeah,
Carr
yeah. I
singers.
rock with
And
them.
yeah. And since like 16, he's been touring, or he toured with the singer Her as
That's right.
a backup singer. So,
Yeah.
so yeah,
He was
Annie and
convinced.
Sammy. If I'm doing a 1A, 1B,
It's funny too, Nakeia, you talk about his innocence. Yet there was this underlying theme around adultery. And I don't want to get into all of the, I'll call it antecedents of that. But we're left with his innocence, even though he was really clear. Yeah, Perlene, you my type. we gonna make this happen. And there's so much more to that. But there was this underlying theme of that as well, hence the name of the movie Sinners. And just an incredibly written film. It's how you pack that into 2 hours and 17 minutes to me is incredible.
agreed.
So, yeah. Can I ask you guys a question about, you saw it a second time. Was there anything that resonated on that second journey that maybe didn't in the first?
Certainly seeing it the second time. So the first time I saw it, the scene that really jumped out at me more than any other scene is when they're in the car and Delta Slim is telling the story as they've just driven by the brothers, working in the chain gang. And he's telling the story of the lynching and how that turned into him, an exasperation, and then that turns into a beat and that turns into a song that was so well built out
Yeah,
of thin air
yeah,
that it, clearly articulated how our creative expression is born directly out of our lived experience in a way that is unique to us. Not that other people don't have a journey, but for our journey, however we've gotten to the points we've gotten to, the ability to turn it into a creative expression to be shared is a long tail talent. And it was a great reminder of why the art form, the blues, is uniquely ours, uniquely American, infused by so many influences. And at the same time, when you go to a blues show, audience is 90% white no matter where you go. And they those audiences have embraced the blues because it's powerful music in a way that we need to get back to, right? And so I was fascinated by that. And the second time around, because I was looking for that scene, it was much more muted than the first time around. It was much fresher the first time around and still every bit as powerful. But when I saw that the very first time, like seeing Star Wars for the first time, I'll never forget that moment.
How about you, Nakeia? Anything?
I agree with Reg in that just the depth, I think, of the layered narrative of the blues really stood out more, I think, the second time for me. And the pale, pale moon, like I was sort of making these connections that in the second time that I wasn't making the first time with that
Yeah.
song, specifically the allure of sin or the allure of the dark side, whatever. So that I think really stood out. And I really just felt like I learned about the characters more the second time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And perhaps I was, creating my own narrative about who they were, their stories, based on seeing it again. But I just really felt like the character development the second time really hit for me.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And, like I used to go to school across the street from Buddy Guy's, so I would go there all the time in Chicago, all the time.
Yes.
And so the scenes at the end, I think, were even stronger, even more compelling the second time around for sure. What about you?
Yeah, I think as I mentioned earlier, I tried to pay more attention to some of the subtleties, the names of places, dates, etc. Sometimes you just miss it. You're entrenched in characters, or I did anyway. And then that date at the end, 10/16/92, for example. And we're not
Mm-hmm.
going to quiz each other, but did anybody else catch that? They specifically posted that's when Sammy was performing and the two vampires walked in.
I saw that date, and I know there's a rabbit hole out there that I haven't gone down about what it means. I know that's also that's similar. That's the year at least at the end of the first Black Panther movie. I don't know if there's a connection there, but I am curious. But I did see that date. I did log it, and I know that the movie starts in 1932. I forget the exact date
Mm-hmm.
there, but it was fascinating to see that there is something there. I haven't heard Ryan Coogler talk about
Well, the way Nakeia's moving, I think she has something to add to
No, I don't
it.
have anything to add to it. I'm actually
Okay.
looking forward to hearing what you have to say. I was just going to say, shout out to DJ the Doc for catching that detail because no, I wasn't checking for that. And now I'm thinking like I missed a whole part. So yeah, I'm gonna have to run that back.
Well, I punched the date in, did a little, and it is also the same exact date of the original release of Candyman,
Oh, I did see that. Yeah. Okay.
right?
Oh,
And I believe that story was from the Delta
Candyman.
to Chicago, right?
Candyman.
Cabrini Green, etc.
Candyman.
Right?
I might,
Yeah.
I might be
No,
wrong.
stupid.
no, don't do it. Hey, don't you do it again.
Hey, don't be saying that over here, man.
Be
We
playing
good
around.
over here. Can't be playing like that.
I live by myself, Red.
Got me out here
you,
spooked.
My bad. Keep going. Keep going.
nah, so I thought, and I believe, I haven't seen the Candyman in a few years, but I think that depicted a movement of from the Delta to Chicago, and this was sort
Mm-hmm.
of that opposite. So I thought that was interesting, and maybe just simply paying homage to some, work from the past, etc. But I caught that, and then also the scene where Smoke handles his business with the KKK folks
Yes. The
at
next
the
morning.
end, right the next morning, and making the cigarette again as he did with his brother. But then the necklaces, taking the necklace, right, the two pieces of the necklace, uniting them as if this is my brother and I, is how I took it, both getting our revenge from you. Right, and he pulled off the hoodoo piece from Annie. So I think there was something in that as well, that my brother and I are one. Even the names of the brothers and the interpretation of the names. But so just a couple of things like that. The names of places at the end. I hadn't caught that the name of the club was Perline's at the end. I caught that
Yep.
this time, second
Yep.
time. So things like that.
Just real quick right there on the names, Smoke and Stack. So either one of you ever see the movie Cadillac Records?
No.
Yes.
Adrian Brody, great movie. Adrian Brody, Beyonce, Jeffrey Wright, a cast of thousands of talented folk, and it's about Chess Records, the legendary blues label in Chicago that was built on muddy waters, but then at some point in time, Etta James, and at some point in time, Howling Wolf, the blues artist Howling Wolf, has a song that's rendered in that particular movie called Smokestack Lightning. And when he
Mm.
does that on screen in that movie, as powerful a single performance in music in a movie I've ever seen, because the actor embodies this big dude who's from the Delta as well, now living in Chicago, and he is looking through the recording room window at Muddy Waters as he's challenging him for supremacy on Chess Records. But that when I see Sinners and see Smoke and Stack, that performance came to mind because up until then I had never heard of the song Smokestack Lightning. It's a powerful, powerful song. And I don't know how Ryan got to Smoke and Stack, but I got to believe that Howlin' Wolf is in there somewhere.
Oh, 100%.
The powerful,
Yeah, that's dope.
powerful, powerful.
Powerful, powerful.
I think the last thing that maybe hit me too was it was really clear that Remick was coming for Sammy.
Yes.
Right, like that really resonated the
Yes.
second time I watched it. Yeah,
Yes.
y'all cool?
Daddy told
Yes.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we want you, homeboy. And it's that recognition of evil recognizing good to me. And if I can flip you, I know I can get to these other folks, which on the other
Absolutely.
side is what happened with Remick. So that really resonated. Like,
Yep.
nah, homeboy, we here for you. Sammy.
Yes.
Well, and also
Sammy.
just it also speaks to the depth and spirituality of having a voice like that and being able to transcend time through that voice. That for me really hit because he wanted him because he was the connection to the past, to present, to future. He
That's
was
right.
that connection. And
That's
for
right.
me, Ryan Coogler did that extremely well because that is what the blues, that is what our music is about.
And not just time across planes, right? The metaphysical. Like
Yep.
part of it for Remick was I'm trying to get to my ancestors and I'm stuck.
Yep.
And this, you represent a conduit to get to people that I'm trying to get to, not so much that I can turn because I want them too, but I'm trying to get to some other people and get to that unlock. And boy, you got a thing.
You got it. And when they started saying the Our Father prayer together, I had goosebumps, let me tell you, because he was like, they put this prayer on us, and I hated the people that did that, but the words still give me peace, give me calm. And it's the same thing for Sammy. I was just like, you getting real deep now, Ryan. You getting real deep.
Getting real deep.
Let's do this. Let's take a break here. And when we come back on the other side of the break, let's pick up right there as it relates to the religious themes that he's playing with in this movie. Because I'm fascinated to hear you say you grew up in a Pentecostal church. I grew up in a Baptist church. There's a whole lot of conversation around the Christian folk, Black Christians in particular, and how they feel about this movie. So let's take a pause for the cause right here and come back to a part 2 discussion on Sinners, on Mama We Made It with DJ and Reg, today featuring the lovely Nakeia Medcalf.